Good morning, my friend. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. It's already Tuesday again. It seems like just yesterday I did my last live event here, and I'm just happy to be here. I hope that wherever you are, the day is sunny and warm. It's bright, just as it is here in the Seattle area. And there's a lot to go through today. Very, very good questions. For anybody who does not know me, this is the first time that I'm going live in places other than LinkedIn. So today I might be welcoming new members to our audience. And if so, you will see me now on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So in all of these platforms, you should be hopefully seeing me live now. For those who don't know me, my name is Eduardo. I'm an executive coach, and I help very successful people go over humps and bumps that they hit on the road to their growth. I also help ambitious managers and people who are very, very driven and all of a sudden feel like they're stuck and they're frustrated because they're not making the kind of money that they would want to make, that they can make. So I help them get earmarked for more and faster promotions so that they can make a bigger lifetime income. If I can help you in any of those ways, if there's something that you believe that you and I should be talking about, reach out, DM me, and let's get into a conversation. Today, as always, I want to start with a thought. And for those who've never come to the show, every week I start with some thought that I believe is going to be useful. So let me go to today's, if I'm capable of finding it. Give me one sec. And the thing is that in those thoughts, what I like to share, there it is. What I like to share is just something that inspired me, that caught my eye. This is something that I found in a fortune cookie of all places a couple of days ago. Big journeys begin with a step. This is for you if you feel like you have things to do that are difficult, that feel daunting, that you don't know how to handle, that you just don't dare. We've all been there, right, my friend, where you say, okay, I'm going to start that. I'm going to go for this meeting with big people that I want to impress. This meeting, this presentation, in this pitch, I'm going to bring my superpower. And then you might feel a little scared or a little nervous to do it. And you might be daunted because you could be thinking, wow, that's a big change. That's a lot. I don't know. Well, whatever you want to do, you can do. Whatever you want to achieve, if you don't give up on yourself, you will achieve. And this is why I like this thought. Big journeys begin with a first step. So whatever it is you're trying to do, the best cure for your anxiety is action. Just get going, give that one first step, and that'll get you well on your way. So with that, let's go to the next question, or rather the first question. How do you choose between an underperforming employee who fits the culture and one who performs better but has no cultural fit? Well, this is a very good question because oftentimes we're faced with people who are very competent and smart and deliver, but who rub everybody the wrong way or who just cannot seem to fit appropriately within the culture of your organization. And that's a tough pill to swallow. Why? Because think about a quadrant, let's say a two-dimensional plane, where on one axis you have trust and fit and collaboration with others, but call it trust. To take this from Simon Sinek, I'm giving him the credit. Of course, he created this. And on the other one, you have performance. So if you have somebody who has a high degree of performance, but a low degree of trust, because they don't have any cultural fit, because they're rubbing people the wrong way, because they're just not able to build a followership, to get the mentors, to get the sponsors, to bring people on board. I would argue that in the short term, this might be somebody you could think about keeping because they're churning out work, they're delivering. But the most valuable argument, the most valuable perspective from my humble point of view would be, over the long run, this is a counterproductive move, right? if you keep somebody in your team just because they're churning out work, just because they're a throughput machine, in the short term, they're going to help you with whatever need you have to deliver. Over the long term, they're going to hurt you because they're going to take time away from you. They're going to hurt your team because everybody's going to feel somewhat demotivated by this other person who just doesn't fit and cannot complement them, so that the total becomes more than the sum of the parts. And the person's going to suffer too. So I would say that in general, everything else being equal, if they are, let's say, same tenure, same seniority, same kind of everything else comparable, I would definitely opt for somebody whose performance is not as great and work on them and work with them and develop them because they fit well with the culture. The presumption here is that they can be developed. Not everybody can. So you do have to give people a chance, analyze, understand your colleague, and if the person is somebody who you believe in, if you give them time, if you give them the training, the attention, the chances to shine, the visibility, if you nurture them and they can grow, I would definitely go with this person. They fit, they're good for your culture. And over the long run, I think that's a better answer, in my humble opinion. Again, I cannot know the details just from your question, but from the general point of view, I would think about it the way that I just described is cultural fit is probably better every time. So let's go to the next one. How do you make sure change doesn't go too fast or too slow? This question, which I really liked, came from a session that I recently had with a bunch of good friends at an organization at IAVI. And the session was focused on change management and elements of change management. And by the way, separate to this, let me plug, there's going to be another video that I will publish on my YouTube channel, and I'll put snippets of that in the other venues, so in Instagram and LinkedIn, etc., where I talk about some of the questions that I got asked at that session. So I'm not going to share the session, but I will share some of the questions and answers. I liked this one in particular because when we are faced with change and there's a specific mission to transform your organization, be it your team, your company, your department, one of the questions that come up the most is, okay, should I just go pell-mell and fast and try to get through that really quickly? Or should I try to take my time and tie everything down and be perfect and just take whatever time it takes? It's a tough question in the sense that there's no single answer. So depending on the nature of the change, depending on your role, depending on what's trying to be achieved, you might want to go faster or slower. Every time in the many companies that I've gotten to see as a coach, or that I got to see as a consultant, or that I got to see on my way to CFO, which took a few years, the best change efforts happened when people really understood the what and the why of the change. Think about it. Why is the change necessary? Why is your organization going through whatever change it decided to go through? Is it self-imposed because they want to adapt and preempt a change that is coming in the environment, in the industry? Or is it a reaction because all of a sudden the regulatory environment changed, or this disruptive new competitor entered the market, or there might be many reasons? What's the nature of the change, right? Why is the change necessary? And what is the actual change? You need to understand those two things. With that clarity, you need to be able to translate that into your day-to-day, into the sphere of what you directly influence. And with that in mind, the clarity of what you do, what the change is, why it's necessary, and how you and your team can contribute to move the needle. God, my voice, I don't know what happens to my voice. you and your team can contribute to move the needle forward towards the longer term vision for your company, then you might decide that you need to go fast. So for example, if there's an organizational announcement and there's a change because people are changing reporting lines and it's a change in structure, then that's something that you want to announce and execute on very, very quickly. On the other hand, if it's been announced at your company that you're going to buy another organization or you're going to restructure your organization to go from geographically based to business unit based, to name an example, well, that takes time. Change is always a process. It's never an event. It doesn't happen on Tuesday and then on Wednesday you're done. It's something that you go through. The length of time that you go through that change is what's determined by the what and the why and the nature of the change. That's important. So I'm sorry that I cannot give you a specific one answer, but there's no single, silver bullet here that's going to allow me to give you this one response. It was a good question though, and that's why I'm repeating it here. Okay, thinking of mentors. Why should I be thinking of? What should I be looking for? Well, let's take a step back. What are mentors? A mentor is a person who will give you an outside-in view of you, of your performance, and of you in your context. So it could be you as a leader of a project. It could be you as the head of a department. It could be you as somebody who needs to deliver as a business leader, or as somebody who just needs to deliver a good or service. And your mentor, to be distinguished from a champion or from a sponsor, I'll go into those, but your mentor is the person who will be looking at you from the outside, who will challenge you, who will push you to go further, who will maybe even help you identifying different routes, different alternatives, different angles from which to view things. And ultimately, they're going to help you stretch. They're going to help you consider things that you might not already be considering as you go into whatever project you're on. So a mentor is that part of you that's outside of you, and that's going to help you stretch and learn and grow. So that's the importance of a mentor. You should be looking for somebody who is not going to just coddle you, for somebody who's not always going to, make you feel warm and fuzzy and go along with you. A mentor is somebody who will help you grow, and growth is sometimes uncomfortable. So that's what you should look for in a mentor. Somebody who's going to tell you the truth, somebody who's going to point out your mistakes, somebody who's going to help you make the most of your strengths and leverage opportunities that you might not be seeing or that you might not dare to take. Did you hear that? That you might not dare to take. So that's what a mentor does. They don't need to be somebody older than you. I was a mentor to many people, and I did happen to be older than them. But it doesn't have to be somebody who's, more into their years than you. It could be somebody who's the same age as you and sits laterally to you, but who has a unique perspective that can help you think through the issues that you have in front of you. So I would say that when you think of a mentor, think of somebody who can challenge you, Think of somebody who can push you. Think of somebody who's going to ask you questions that you might not have thought of yourself. Think of somebody who will help you rehearse if you need to have a presentation, a conversation, a pitch. Well, your mentor could give you good feedback about how you sound, how you're showing up. You're twirling your thumbs too much. You're using a lot of filler words. You sound too nervous. I can barely hear you. So there's a lot of things that your mentor can help you, even like I just exemplified, to prepare for some conversation, some meeting, etc. In my career, and I'll move on with this, in my career, the mentors that helped me the most, the mentors that helped me the most in my career were those that were able to challenge me and to say, you're being too timid about it and you're going too slow, or you're going too small. You can go for more. Talk to this person, talk to the person, think about this, bring this into your view. And that was not comfortable, or not always, but it unfailingly, every single time it made me grow. When I finished whatever I was trying to do and looked backwards, I saw that the challenge that my mentor had given me was what really pushed me over that bump. So there you have it. Let's go to the next one. Okay, I've decided to go to another company. When should I give notice? Excuse me. You would be surprised at how common this question is. We have all been in a situation where we're doing our job, we're in our current company, and we have another opportunity. It might be a good one, it might be a flashy one that's not as good, or it might just be a bad one, right? But there's many where we're oftentimes just really anguishing over, wow, should I take that opportunity? That sounds good. And if I take it, and I will take it, let's say, how soon do I tell my current boss? And why? Well, the fear normally is, what if I tell them and the new opportunity falls through and now I'm burned here and I didn't get the other job? What is that going to do to my image? So there's this trepidation. I would say that the thought process is probably one where you need to think about, pardon my voice, you need to think about be strategic. You cannot just have the first conversation with the headhunter or the hiring manager from the other company, the talent acquisition leader from the other company, and immediately go to your boss and say, hey, I'm being courted for a new position elsewhere, right? Because you don't know that that's going to work. You don't know that that's what you really want. On the other hand, it's not always good to wait until you have the contract in your hand and then you go and talk to your boss and you say, hey, I only have 2 weeks to give you. I mean, you can do that. I've been guilty of that. I've made that mistake. I think it's a mistake. Why? Because at the end of the day, 15 days is not really enough, particularly if you're a little more senior. It's not really enough to properly hand off your deliverables, the things that you're doing, I think. You're not giving people enough time to look for somebody to come in after you. So there's some balance that you need to strike between right away, as soon as you talk to the headhunter the first time, or very last minute, 1 or 2 weeks before you're going to need to leave. And I would say that it's a function of how sure are you that you're going to be successful in your new job, number one. Number two is, how successful are you going to be at conveying, and you need to prepare for this, the fact that you are looking and listening to other people as they whisper into your ear that there might be another opportunity. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody does that. And you can talk to your boss and say, hey, Jane or Joe, I got a call from another company and they've been calling me, and I've decided to engage in the conversation, and it's looking good, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm in the middle of this process. What's the worst that can happen? Well, the worst that can happen is they say, you know what, I actually don't want you here. Move on out. I've never seen that, by the way, but it could happen. And well, that's a risk you take. Again, I've never seen it. What I have seen is people say, whoa, why are you thinking of leaving? What are you missing here? What could we do better? Is there something I could do? And then with that response in mind, you have more information to think about your new opportunity. So let's say that you come up with the communication to your boss and you set aside some time and you tell him or her, I'm in conversations with another company, and I wanted to let you know. And they say, what are you missing here? And it could be, hey, I'm not making enough money, and I don't see a good path to growth. Immediately, they could say, well, hey, here's some money for you. Here's a promotion for you. The question for you, my friend, would be, why didn't you give me that before? Why did I need to come to you with this so that you reacted, giving me the most that you can give me based on what you think of me? You need to think about that question, and you need to sit with it. I need to be very, very honest with yourself, right? They might be doing that because they're managing their budget. I'm not saying they're bad people, but think about it. If you decide that they were just managing their budget, they're not trying to, shortchange you, then fine. You know they value you. You know that you got something good out of this honest communication, and end of story. So it's a good ending on that side. On the other is they could just say, I'm sorry to see you go. How long do I have? And then you can communicate whatever period of time, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, I don't know, you determine, right? But at least it's out in the open. You're not surprising people. And you're also going to commit to helping somebody who's going to come in after you, so that you're not leaving people in the lurch, hanging from the paintbrush. Because that's not what you're after, right? You're not here to screw anybody over. You're here to look for yourself, for your career, for your growth. So I would say that's a decent thing to do, is just evaluate how soon can you be open and discuss that you're listening to other conversations and other people, and that you're thinking about it, and see what the response is. I would say that's the best way to go, right? I'll move on, but not before saying that I've seen people in my career, and as you hear me say often, it's a lot of years. I've seen people use this as a little bit of blackmail, particularly high-performing people. And in one of my coaching sessions with a client who I helped get promoted some time ago, recently, he said, hey, should I do this? Because he was very well regarded in his place of work, and that's why they gave him the opportunity to get a coach. And so he said, I feel like I want to get my promotion quickly. I'm just going to threaten that somebody's calling me, and that'll put a fire under their seats, and they'll feel prompted to just give me the promotion, or just, yeah, maybe it would have worked that way. In my own personal view is, look at yourself in the mirror, evaluate your values. And if that's the way you want to do things, then listen, have at it, right? I am, my honest opinion, think that people who do that over time might not feel as good with themselves as they could. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But I will say that it's disingenuous if you use this as a threat just to get people to move. If that's what you want, then say, that's why I'm listening to these guys. That's why I'm taking the call. But don't just use it as a threat. I wish you the best of luck, and give them the chance. Don't surprise them. I think that's a mistake that I made, and I once, right, or twice along my many years of career, and it's not a good thing. It's just a door that you close on yourself. That's not useful. All right, we have 6 minutes, and a very good question. I'm pretty tired of office politics. Can you give any advice? I have another event that happens every other Wednesday that's called Talent Talks. And it's just a LinkedIn audio event. By the way, anybody wants to join, I'll leave the details in the description to this post, to this event here. And this question came up. The question was precisely this, is, what is office politics? We spent an hour talking about that. Office politics in general, they've taken on this hue of a bad word, right? So people use the word politics in the workplace as though it's a bad, evil thing, toxic. And I'm here to tell you that politics is not in and of itself bad. There's nothing bad inherently to office politics. It'll always happen. Politics will occur when there's more than one person working on something in common. Neither good nor bad. It just will happen. It's the dynamics of the relationship between more than one person. Two people or more, obviously. They can be used for good if you think about it. You could use politics to gain more visibility for your team, to gain more exposure with the senior stakeholders that you need to be showing your stuff to get more time for your team to show their stuff, to pitch an idea that you believe is beneficial for the organization, to get support for a project that's important. After all, that's what politics is going to be in that interpretation, right? From that perspective. You're influencing others with a good cause in mind, to see a colleague, to help somebody get promoted, to get time or resources for a system implementation that you want to do that is beneficial for your company. So there's nothing that's bad with politics just because it's politics. It's the nature of human dynamics, of human relations. So I would advise that you reframe your definition of politics as not a bad thing. It's more, how can you use politics in a beneficial way for you, your team, and your organization? Now, with that said, I don't want to be naive or pretend like that's it, politics is actually good. No, there's also bad agents out there. There will also be people who use politics in a bad and toxic way, and that's toxic politics. The people who will try to throw you under the bus, or who will try to shine at your expense, or who will try to manipulate you to do things that they might not be able to do or not dare to do, or they just want to see, get you in harm's way to see what happens. I mean, there's many, many different scenarios, so I'm not going to enumerate all of them. But you know what I'm talking about. And based on your question here, that's what you're seeing. If you're seeing cloak and dagger behind your back, dark place kind of scheming to make you look bad, and people talking about other people, bad-mouthing them with others, yeah, that's bad politics. That's toxic. And there's ways to deal with that too. You can confront the person. You can avoid getting into those. I've been in situations where you just, for example, don't have a leader that's strong enough, that's clear enough, or that's giving the results that the team need. And immediately people gather around the water cooler and start talking about this person and criticizing and mocking, or in a destructive, gossipy kind of way. My advice to you, disengage, run for the hills when that happens. You have nothing good to say about somebody, then don't say anything. But don't engage in destructive, toxic politics that break somebody down and make you feel part of a team. Don't do that just to belong. If you see that, then confront the person, talk to your boss. There's many other ways, and I'll talk about it in a future edition because I only have 1 minute. But I'll close by saying, reframe what you think of politics. Politics is not bad in and of itself. Use politics in a good way to garner the resources, to get the attention, to get the visibility, to bring visibility to your teams, to get somebody promoted, to influence others so that something that will be good for your firm, for you, for your team, comes to pass. That's what you should be using politics for. But don't view it as a bad thing. Because guess what? If you leave your current organization because you're sick of politics and you're going to another place, there's no such place. it'll happen everywhere. Unless you work on your own, and it'll still happen when you try to sell something to a client. It will always happen. So reframe it, use it in a positive way, and use your superpowers. How can you shine? How can you get more visibility onto the things that are strong in you and your team and your organization? All right, my friends. Well, there you have it. That's it. That's the 5 questions for today. And we're at the bottom of the hour. So nothing left for me to do but thank you. I'm excited to finally be live in other venues, not just in Instagram. So not just in LinkedIn. So I was live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and in LinkedIn, which is the original, the birthplace of this session. Every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be here half hour, or as many questions as we can handle, whatever happens, first. So have a fantastic week. Thanks for coming, and I will see you soon. Take good care, my friend. Bye.